Welcome to Path to the Playoffs, our first edition of it for this season. We're going to be doing these throughout the remainder of the year now that we are getting to that point in the season where things are affecting the standings a lot. Each week we're getting 1 week closer to the final standings. So Scott, right now I know this weekend, when you have Monday Night Football, it's kind of nice. You get to sit back and watch what all happens in the league before your game. So similar to when we had the bye week, what are the things that you noticed this week watching all the games and how the games outside of the Bucs one affected the Buccaneers?
Yeah, I think we need more Monday games and more bye weeks because every time we get a chance to sit on the couch on Sunday and watch the league unfold, like as in the bye week, everything seems to go our way, or almost everything. And this happened again on Sunday. There were big losses by Green Bay, lost to Minnesota at Minnesota. Dallas lost at Kansas City. The Rams weren't active, but they didn't pick up any ground, obviously. And New Orleans lost in Philadelphia. There's no real shame in any of those losses, particularly like Green Bay losing to their big rival in Minnesota. But it helped the Buccaneers quite a bit because those are all teams that the Buccaneers are vying against to try to stay, in the case of New Orleans, and try to stay in first place in the NFC South. And now we're 2 games up in that, but also to try to get the first seed if possible, or at least the second seed in the overall standings.
So what does that mean about the standings now? Where are we in terms of the NFC and where the Bucs fall in that?
Well, as I think has happened 4 weeks in a row now, at least 3, the Buccaneers and Cowboys swap spots. So the Buccaneers had dropped to 4 the previous week, but are now back up to 3. And that's because the Cowboys lost and the Buccaneers win over the Giants. They took care of business after watching all the good stuff happen on Sunday. The win over the Giants means both the Bucs and the Cowboys are now 7-3. And it's good for us the rest of the way to be tied with Dallas. I mean, it'd be better to be ahead of them because we have that tiebreaker, head-to-head tiebreaker in hand from week 1, which really could be important. It's kind of funny to think that first game of the whole NFL season could end up being a deciding factor at the very end of the season. Also at the top of the standings, the Packers and Cardinals switched again because the Cardinals now have a 9-2 record, which is the best in the NFC, and that's 1 game better than the 8-3 Packers, which is important for the Cardinals because the Packers have a win in hand head-to-head over the Cardinals. So the Cardinals have to stay a game ahead of them. Probably the biggest winner of the whole weekend was Minnesota, who not only beat their biggest rivals, the Packers, but also went from the outside looking in to the 6th seed with New Orleans dropping to the 7th seed.
Okay, and so let's say season ended today. What would that mean in terms of the actual Buccaneers playoff path and where they would be sitting to start the playoffs?
Yeah, well, some teams would have to make some really quick travel arrangements if the season simply ended today and the playoffs started. But I guess the better way to put it is if the standings stay this way till the end of the year, what would that mean? It would mean the Arizona Cardinals would get the only bye, after the expansion to 7 teams in each conference in the playoff field last year. That reduced the number of byes to just 1, and the other 6 teams all have to play. Now, all 4 of the division winners get to start off at home. And so the Buccaneers right now would be the 3 seed, and they'd have a home game against the 6 seed, which at the moment is Minnesota, which looks like an ascending team. So that could be a pretty interesting matchup right there. But if the Buccaneers can get up to at least the 2 seed, even if they didn't get that first round bye, they would be guaranteed of at least a second game at home if they won the first one. So they're in good shape right now, but it could get even better over the next 7 weeks.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us on this edition of Path to the Playoffs. Again, we're going to be doing more of these as the season unfolds, telling you what it is looking like for that Buccaneers path to the playoffs. We'll see you then.